Yeah, I will. I've always told my dad that I thought that John was Christ after Jesus. Because Christ is just, Christ isn't a person. Christ is a title, right? It's not like Jesus is like the only Christ. It's like Jesus was able to embody Christ, I guess would be the word for it. It's light. Here we go. There we go. And I've always kind of understood it as Jesus was able to attain Christhood in this life, and all Christhood truly is just basically graduating from the elemental realms, which is all the emotional realms. So graduating from being an emotional basket case, getting mad about everything, getting mad at people. You know, you figure people that can be patient, let people cut them off on the freeway and not get upset or mad or not get defensive or not reflect or project. I want to just make sure that Maddie is not outside. She's not outside, is she?
I don't know.
The dog has literally fallen in the pool 3 times now.
3 times?
She fell in again.
Oh my gosh, she's so stupid.
I know, she's kind of not a very smart dog.
Did you put her outside?
She should be somewhere in here. I think she's in the living room, but I just hope she didn't get out. I'll worry about that. I used to bring Poochie to work every single day because because when negative energy comes in, this is very glary. This is glaring. Whenever I would be doing healings and I would see like a negative energy come through, I would immediately see Poochie flying off the banister at our house, like dying. And I knew that it was because whenever bad energy came in, it would trigger my mind because all of the only thing our mind does is go, like, say this energy comes into my field, my mind's going to go person, place, or thing that matches this. Person, place, or thing that matches this. Person, place, or thing that matches this. And I'll be like, yes, selenite, or yes, a soft serve ice cream cone, or whatever. It's like our mind is going to read it, and if there's no read for it, we'll usually turn it into a person. Like I'll see like a selenite, like a person made out of selenite, or whatever the description of this is that it have like arms and legs and a head, and because we turn everything into people because we're inside of a person right now. I can't remember why I was saying this. I can't remember why I was saying this, but anyways, Christ. Yeah. Okay. So so I would be doing healings and say like some like gross entity came in. The frequency of that would cause me to see Poochie dying. So I used to just bring her to all my sessions. So she was in lots and lots and lots of healing sessions with lots and lots and lots of clients all over the world and in person, because I would be triggered to see her die whenever I was in sessions because people had like deadly energies in their field, and that's the way my brain read it, and that's the same for you people that get like impending doom. I always tell people, if you get that impending doom feeling where it's like, oh my gosh, I'm going to die, or I just know something bad is going to happen. I just know it. I know something bad is going to happen. And you just have that gross feeling in your stomach or in your chest or your throat, and you just feel like you don't know what it is. You just know it's something bad. That usually means that your field is open, and very threatening things are in your field that can threaten your emotional well-being. And the only thing that can really drag us down in this life is our emotions, right? I mean, if we're happy, there's really nothing that can bring us down. If we're upset and mad, we can screw everything up in our life. We can, tell everyone to go, everyone that we love to go fly a kite, and we can go tell, this person to go do this to themselves, and then they go and they get mad at that person, they come back and get you. And, it's just like emotions are literally the thing that fuel all the good and all the bad in this world. And what the status of Christ is graduating to being the status of Christ would be being able to handle those emotions and rise above them, like walking on water. Think of emotions as water. So we're walking on water when we are not in fear and we're not down in the water, and we can just rise above everything and just see that everything that we see is just a reflection of ourselves. Everything's a projection of what we're feeling. The things that we don't want to admit that we're feeling, we will blame everybody else around us for feeling, because we're human beings and we don't want to be wrong. We don't want to be the bad person, even though sometimes we're very bad people, but we don't want to admit it to ourselves. But anyway, so Christ, I've always said, loop back around. I love how they loop back around. I would have never remembered this. John, I always thought was Christ after Jesus left. Remember, I used to always say, I think John was Christ because Jesus said something to the effect of, this is your mother and this is your son to Mary. So so it's almost like, if there was a being, I mean, we're saying that Christ is a being, but I think that Michael, or the creator, is a being. And when Jesus got baptized by the first Christ, I think the first Christ was John the Baptist. I think he had reached Christhood. So it's like he was in 7th grade or whatever, 12th grade, graduating from high school. And the only way to get to 12th grade as well is to meet somebody in the 12th grade to then, pull you up into the 12th grade as well. Like, say that's being Christ, the 12th grade. So John the Baptist pulled him up. And then when he died, John, I think, became Christ. That's why I think there's so many books by John, because you were saying John has, several books. I didn't know John Zebedee I didn't know his last name was Zebedee. Mm-hmm. But when you were talking about John Zebedee, I just kept hearing, he was the proclaimer of truth in the age after Jesus.
He wrote the book of Revelation,
mm-hmm.
last book in the Bible. And he wrote his is the most exhaustive book on Jesus' life in the Gospels. The Gospels are Matthew, Mark, Luke, and John.
Mm-hmm.
So John's, oddly enough, it came fourth instead of first by
the guy, Constantine. Like that guy.
Everything starts with a C, I forget. Oh, anyway, if you have a chance to ask Jesus if he comes in.
I'm going to say prayer now.
He was approaching, it says in the Arancha book, in his 27th year, he was approaching and understanding his relationship to his thought adjuster. So I'm just curious, he didn't understand everything according to the Arancha book until his baptism. Well, that's still going to be another 2 or 3 years from now. How did he know, or what was it within him? Was it strictly his intuition? That he knew that a piece of the Father lived within him? Because the Jews didn't practice that. They didn't practice that God lived within them. So why did he know prior to his baptism that there was a piece of the Father that lived within him, and of course lives within all of us?
Okay, so let me call in Jesus. I'm now the me that I need to be in order to connect with the Jesus, the personality, the soul, the consciousness that we need to connect with in order to answer this question, because it's more of like a personal, like while he was in body question rather than an all-knowing Christ question. Ask that any earthbound spirits, any entities, any discarnate souls, anything that is not complete in its own trinity, leave this room, leave this place, and leave any of our spaces. Anyone watching this, anybody like directing their attention towards us, anything that's in their field, we ask that it not be able to affect us, that we be impervious to anybody's energy, anyone's thoughts, anybody thinking negativity, thinking negative things about this, be impervious to those negative thoughts, emotions, and feelings and judgments. And we ask that we be risen up into our higher selves, into the aspect of us that knows all, that is all, that will be all forever and ever. And we ask that our spirit from the earth be united with the higher self. Everybody watching this, that their spirit be reunited with their higher self and with Christ, with the piece of them that is Christ, for we all have Christ within us, as well as the Father. And calling in Mary, calling in Sophia, calling in all the other guides, Eden, all of our other guides that are for our highest and best good, as well as anybody else watching this now and in the future. Amen. Okay, so I have a long line. It's interesting. It's like Jesus, and it's really interesting. It looks like he's like moving really fast. And it's like, in the cartoons when you see someone like they drink like the potion to make them move real fast, and it goes, like it's like
feeling. Paddle.
Yeah, it's a yeah, that's what he's doing. It's like, but it's stuttery though. It's like, and it's like it's spiraling like this. And why are you guys showing me that? Jesus is showing that through time we can speak with this same Jesus, and because I said we need to talk to the Jesus that knows. Mm-hmm. He says we can talk to this same Jesus, and everybody has this same Jesus inside of them, because we are all him, and he is just us in the future and us in the past, and we need to understand that it's not necessarily that we need to get anywhere. We need for our ego and our elemental, our like fleshy self, to get to the understanding that we are him living through all of our creations, and we just happen to have merged with a earth spirit. The spirits I see in a spiral. That's interesting, because he's going in a spiral. So it's Christ merged with the spirit of the earth, they come together to create man. So your question was, how did he, what was it again?
How did he come to understand that he had a piece of the Father living within him?
This is what he saw. He's saying, this is what I saw. He says that he saw the Father in his own image, like seeing the Father would be like, kind of like seeing like a Noah-like person, you know, like with the beard and the hair. And he says he was only 12 years old, and he was in the outside of the temple in like a rose garden or something like that, kind of like the meditation gardens over by my old center in Encinitas. And he was sitting there, and he says he wasn't crying out to God, but he was asking God for advice because people were wanting him to like work in ministry, and he didn't know whether he was like what he had to offer. He says, I didn't know what I had to offer over and above what anybody else could offer. And he says he could offer motivation to want to know God, motivation to want to know the real God, not an angry God, not a vengeful God, not an evil God. And he felt like that was all he had. So he was in the garden saying, do I need to go and do this? And they said, no. What you need to do is know that you are me and I you. And together, the earth and I create you. So he saw himself like as Adam/man, like man. I think Adam means man, but he saw himself Adam as like the original Adam. Like they're showing like an atom, ATOM, but also Adam. They showed him in the garden, like the Garden of Eden, and he was in a garden, and they showed him there, and then they showed him like merging with the earth spirit that we are, and just going like going through all time and spiraling out. And it's funny you said beside yourself, that they thought that he was beside himself. Mm-hmm. It literally shows him going and then landing right next to himself, beside himself. And he was able to look at his entire life, including dying, including everything. It was kind of like when I was out of my body into my accident, I like knew everything that was going to happen. I knew what was going on. It's like I just knew. But it was like, her dad's not going to talk to her. The market's going to crash. She's not going to have any money. She's going to lose her license. It was like I could see everything that was going to happen in the years to come. And I was like, I don't want to be here anymore. He kind of saw the same type of thing. And he described that seeing that piece of God inside of him going like that, merging with the earth, as knowing that God was inside of him.
It's odd not odd that you mentioned that, but that's exactly when he was confronted by the first cosmic being. Really? Emmanuel sent down they said a counselor, but it could have been an angel, or as the Bible calls it, a Lord, appeared to Jesus in the garden in Jerusalem when he was 12 years old.
You know, I see angels move like that too, real fast. They go like it's not like running. It's like stuttery. It's like kind of like those old cartoon things where you turn thing, like the little slides. That's interesting. They said Amathiel or Amathiel is the one that confronted him, or more came and showed him his future.
Oh wow!
It was like a prophecy thing.
Well, they told him at the age of 12 that it was now his time to.
Oh, but he says it wasn't. But it wasn't time to go preach yet. He says it was time to understand what he was, what all of us are, so that he could then integrate that into being alive and learning how creation works, and learning how our thoughts matter, learning how our words matter, learning how our actions matter, learning how being kind to another person actually helps us. Because even if you can't stand a person and you're mean to them, you're still going to feel bad. Even if you're like, yeah, I really sucked it to him. That's the piece of you that's an elemental creature that's like, yeah, like, oh, that's why they always fight. The arms and the legs,
because they're and then like big ball with a leg out,
like the little
out,
like
dust all around, the ball.
Like the cartoons in Charlie Brown or whatever when they fight,
and that's spinning.
That's how I see those beings, but it's because those are their elemental spirits that we're seeing. They haven't yet reached Christhood. Like Christ stands right in front of us. Our elemental self kind of stands to the side of us, like up at our 2:00 kind of. And once we can merge that piece of ourselves that's like just a basket case. I mean, if you ever go out and drink or whatever, and all of a sudden you're just like, "Rah!" and you like freak out, and you're just like so like angry, that's you leaving your body, going out, and you're beside yourself, and you're affected by all the energy around you that your brain doesn't have defense mechanisms for. And so you just lose your mind. That's why they call spirits, like alcohol, spirits, because they say that you'd be possessed by spirits. So spirit is outside of us. We are inside of ourselves. Our spirit lives inside of us. God lives inside of us. And that's what Jesus found out when he was 12 years, about 2 months. And it wasn't on his birthday, though, he says. It was on his birthday. They didn't say it was on his birthday, did they?
No.
Oh, okay. Yeah, because he says it wasn't on his birthday. It was like 12 years, 2 months. That's in his 13th year, though.
He was in his 13th year.
Yeah.
And it was in April, and his birthday is in August, so April, May, June, July, August. He was 8 months. He was 12 years and 8 months when that happened.
He says 12 years. But remember, they said time is different now because we added months or something like that. But anyways, he's saying 12 years, 2 months. He saw that vision, and from that point forward, he was attuned to the. It's not that the Spirit of Truth came when he left. The Spirit of Truth dwelled inside of him, and he represented that while he was here. And then when he left, that spirit stayed within the earth. Like he delivered it. He brought it into the earth. Like if somebody has to come in and be the courier and bring it in. You can't just take like he's saying like, you can't just bring like a burning hot coal down into like ice or whatever. It'll crack the ice. You have to have somebody that brings it down, like with them, sits with it, allows things to start to settle, and not just like toss it down there. It has to be somebody that can carry that heat or carry that frequency to then introduce it to other people. So that then when their physical body leaves, and that's just here going, because he was like holding it inside of him. It's like he was going to burst. He had such a high frequency inside of him that anybody that he touched or was with or was around would just shift and they would just change. And that was like purely the Father within him. But if your spirit is out here and the Father is still inside of you, but your spirit's not within you, then you're not going to experience the Father. You're just going to experience a big, huge ball of emotion, and you're just going to be a basket case. So what he's saying is that when we enter into this life, we enter into this life with a plan. And you always say that we planned with Jesus, and we planned with our spirit, we planned with our soul. But it's really, we're the God consciousness that is already Christed. Like it's like we're a creator being, and we enter into this soul, and the soul's like this movie theater, and it's already all set up and everything, and it's just how we handle things emotionally is going to be how life is. You can be upset and I can be happy. We can go to the same event, and even if I cloned myself, and one of me was mad and one was happy, and we experienced the same exact thing, we're going to have two totally different experiences of the same exact event, based on our emotions and based on our feelings. And he says the easiest thing to do is to realize that when your ego dies, that's when your spirit thrives. So when your ego dies, your spirit thrives. And the spirit and the ego are the exact same thing. It's just one is in fear and one is in love. So there's love and then fear. And fear is usually a fear of not having love. So he says it's very not a catch-22. He says it's very, what's that? Not an oxymoron. It's ironic. He says that we are love. We are made of love. We are love. We are God's love. When we fall into fear, it's because we're fearing that we're not loved, or we're fearing that we can't love, and we're fearing that nobody loves us. So we fall into fear, and then we start acting out, trying to receive love when we are love. So he says it's ironic. So when you start to feel down, when you start to feel disconnected from God, when you start to believe that God is not real, when you start to feel like God is not our creator, ask yourself, how could this have just happened? How could all of this have just happened? Everyone just appeared? Everyone's just here? It's just random? No, this is a creation. We have all come together to create it. And there are pieces of ourselves that are looking down upon this, witnessing life through our eyes. And that's the us that we need to ask for assistance from. That's the us that we need to say, hey, I really need your help right now. I'm down here on the battlefield. You're up there with binoculars. You're up there looking over the whole thing. You can see the missiles coming. You can see the people hiding in the trees about to attack me. Help me out here. I need help. And you would think that they would radio in something. Okay, go here, do this, do that. No, what they do is they pull you up into them so that you can then see and you can determine which way you're going to go from that vantage point. So your higher self will give you the ability to go into their vantage point, see, experience, and witness life so that you don't die, so that you can live the best life that you possibly can live, so you can create what you want to create. You can't create down from the fear levels. You cannot create down there. All you can create is more fear. All you can create is chaos. All you can create is death and destruction and sickness and illness. What you can create from your creator's eyes, from they're calling it the divine Holy Spirit of truth. So I think, is that the Holy Spirit and Spirit of truth? They said no. The divine Holy Spirit of truth is this peace that dwells within us, that's fully connected to God, that never left God, that knows God, that is love, and that will always know that it's love, that never fell from grace, that never ever felt unloved, that never felt disconnected, and never felt like God rejected them by sending them down into the underworld. And they're saying what we need for you to understand is coming up here on Easter, you must realize that this is a representation of what you must do every single day. Every single day, you turn over the fear, you turn over the regret, you turn over the humiliation, you turn over all of the things that you said to people that you're just cringe, like, oh, I can't believe I said that. You turn that all over and you allow that to die. No, you don't go kill yourself. This is where you just allow that piece of you and say, okay, that piece of me no longer exists. That piece of me is dead and I will rise from the ashes. And you allow that piece of you to rise. And you must ask to become that piece of you that is resurrected, that is in alignment with Christ, that is and does and knows everything in this lifetime. And you can have even just a second there, even just a millisecond there will bring you more wisdom than you could ever get by beg praying in fear. Please God, please God, please, don't let me get fired. Please God, please, don't let me do this. Please. As if you're not in control of your reality, as if you're not in control of your destiny. Yes, if you mess up and you're about to get fired, maybe you're about to get fired, or maybe if you start to see things a different way, maybe if you start to see them from up above, then everything will just shift. And this has been known to happen. They call them miracles. Things will just shift. The boss will just say, you know what? I'm going to give you another chance. We're going to forgive you. Instead of throwing you out and having your briefcase hit you on the head. They're like, get out of here and don't let the door kick you. And the briefcase is like, boom, hits him in the head. So he says, no matter how horrible life is right now, no matter how much death or destruction or devastation, no matter how much abuse or maybe you've been raped or you've been abused, you've got an abusive significant other, or somebody's kidnapped your child, or something horrible that no person would ever want to experience. You must go deep within yourself, to your inner self, to that inner Holy Spirit of truth, because by going into that place, anybody that is affiliated with you will feel that light. They'll feel that release. And believe it or not, when somebody is attacking you, they are fueled by your fear, because it sends more fear to them and it drops them down lower, and then they get worse. But if they are being risen up, they'll go, what am I doing? This is awful. This is horrible. I'm not going to do this anymore. And it may take a little bit more than that, but you must understand that when you're fighting with somebody, when somebody's trying to drag you down, like he's talking about, what's his name, Jerry, trying to drag you down, you do not have to turn it over and go, you won, I'm the better Christian, and I'm just going to turn my cheek. You must enter into a situation at an elevated emotional state whereby they will then experience you at this higher vibration, which will cause them irritation because they're at a lower vibration, but sometimes it will heal them and release them from the binds that they're in with the demons that are around them, causing them to do what they do because they feel bad, but they won't admit they feel bad. So understand and know that when there is conflict and you're dealing with conflict in your lives, all of you listening now and in the future, try and do this not by ignoring it, not by trying to be a better person by just not having the conflict, but by entering in at a higher vibrational state like Christ, a forgiving state, knowing and understanding that somebody is clearly plagued by lower vibrational energies and this is what's causing them to do what they do. but by entering in knowing that you are going to not show them what a good person is, but you're just going to be that. And then that will then connect with them and bring them up into resonance with their higher self. And you can pray that. You can pray. The person that I'm in conflict with, I pray that they be connected with their higher self. If it's for their highest and best good as well as my own. You're not asking for anything. You're not healing them without their permission. You're just praying that they be connected to what they already are, because they are in a fallen state and they're causing chaos and destruction in their lives out of greed, all the deadly sins. Greed, lust, what's all the sins? I don't remember what, but they're just saying that those are all the things of the ego that they will experience, and they'll just continue to do those. And what happens from this is people that are quote unquote bad, they'll turn to alcohol and drugs and sex and all of the things that can make them feel even worse, So it's a deadly cycle when you fall into fear. And when you can knowingly be at a higher vibration and ask Christ, ask the Holy Spirit of truth to dwell within you and help you to rise above the fear, you will change the world. You will change the world. You will all change the world if you could just do that. And if you could just see that bullies at school, bullies, for those of you that are young, those that are bullying you, or the boys or the girls that are making fun of you, listen to what they're saying and ask yourself, is that something that really actually should be said to them? And don't say it to them, but just know and understand they're not talking to you. Those of you that are light inside, you're big mirrors. You're going to show people what they need to heal inside, but they don't want to see it in themselves, so they'll see it in you. Just know and understand. Take it as a compliment. Take it as a compliment that you're helping to heal them by showing them what they have inside of them. And no, they probably won't ever acknowledge you for it, but just know inside that you're not what they're saying you are, and don't take it to heart. Know and understand that you are a good person, you're love, you're a peace, you're a joy. Same with parents. When parents accuse you of things that you haven't done, it's because things that they would have done. So don't take it to heart. Don't go and prove them right. Just continue to be the person that you want to be. And someday they'll see. And if they don't, that's okay too. Because we see. We all see. Your entire team sees. And your soul sees. And that's what really, truly matters. We bless you. And Rosemary was like, oh my God, he's so cute. And she goes, he looks just like Kenny Loggins. Because remember last night I came in, I was watching the video, Danny's song.
Yeah.
And Kenny Loggins, it was like live or something, and he was with this lady, like maybe part black, like long curly black hair, and they were singing, and he had like a white, like, you know, like the not canvas, you know, like the what's that material, linen shirt, and like the flowy pants. His hair was all Jesus-y, and his beard. And he came in and told me, Dad, I went, whoa, Kenny Loggins looks so much like Jesus. It's interesting.
Yeah, before he went butch, cut his hair.
Yeah, he cut all his hair off.
Strange. Yeah.
Yeah, but it's the video is Danny's song. So if you guys want to look it up, it's like, I was like, wow, that was a modern day Jesus sitting there, and I bet you Jesus could sing. He says he could sing.
Yeah, because he played the harp, and he and a bunch of friends got together and formed a band.
Yeah, he says he could sing. He could play 7 instruments. He says he wasn't really a fan of the wind instruments. He said that it just flowed through him. It the guitar, the ukulele, like the strings.
The harp. He had the harp.
Oh, okay, harp. But he says he also could play the other, like, string.
They had small harps and they had big harps. And so
oh, maybe that's a small harp that I'm seeing.
He had a small harp he had to end up selling to avoid paying taxes. So
that's interesting that they say that, like, harps and clouds, you know, like the angels played harps, because they said at one point, me and Sue did a channeling, and they said something about, like, the angels have the harps, and that plays the different, like when they strum the harp string, it changes the world. Like an angel can come in and go like ding ding ding, like you play the harp, and that's what I wanted to say. The green horse is here.
There's no green horse.
Pale horse.
Oh, the pale horse. That's the last of the 4.
Yeah, the green horse got here like 3 or 4 days ago.
What? How can that be?
Because they just shuffle all around. It's not like one's going to come in, and the next one, and the next one. It's kind of like how he was saying, like, oh, that's funny how I see the spiral thing. How he was kind of like going like this, like in a spiral. It's like you can go all the way around, and you're right back where you started. So it's like it's like red horse, you know, and it's like white horse is like out in the bend, and then you're going to hit the same horse again and go around. So it's like he's saying that time is not linear. It's not like, oh, this horse is going to happen, then this horse, then this horse. It's just the different frequencies that we actually call them in. So depending on where the earth is, the different horses are going to come in, the different sounds, the different frequencies are going to come in, and they're going to shift things and change things and take them back into whatever they need to be in. So right now we need that pale horse that brings in solemn solidarity. It brings in like this everyone's just kind of like it's weird. It's like the people that were mad are just like all and the people that are like all like in frenzy are like all and the people that are really happy are just like all It's like everyone's just so like it's like muting everyone's emotions. It's muting the emotions in the sense that like we can't feel like really angry and we can't feel really sad. We can just kind of feel like muted, almost like that. Because in doing that, it's helping us to connect in with our spirit, with our soul, and with Christ, and graduate up to higher levels. Because if you're immature, if you're a child, you can't graduate in the emotional body if you're sitting there going like nanny nanny nanny, ha ha ha, our guy won, or this thing or that guy. That it's like everybody's always comparing, everybody's always judging, everybody's always doing that, and that's because that's what children do. So this green horse kind of brings in, they say kind of like destruction and like grossness is what like kind of like the way it feels.
The pale horse brings death and destruction to the whole earth.
It's the ego. Death and destruction to the ego is what they're saying. So it's like our ego has to die in order for our consciousness to get into our spirit and rise up into the crown. So the pale horse is just kind of like muting those emotions of like that, all your inner children that are like, but you said this and blah, 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 blah. It's like killing that old self and just allowing it, just like they said, each day, allow yourself to resurrect rise from the ashes, become your true self. You don't have to be this little elemental creature that's just like blah, 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 all the time. You can rise up into this more mature cosmic self. And the cosmic self is the one that's the creator. The cosmic self fell into this elemental creature that was inside the earth and just had to live 572 lives, like you said, living all these lives over and over and over and over. And now it's time for all those lives to end and for people to rise up into their Christ body. And if they can't, then they just will die and they'll stay and they'll continue to incarnate over and over and over in that elemental creature that they are. But now is the opportunity, now is the chance to allow ourselves to not think that we're dying, but to think that all of the things that we don't want to be are allowed to pass away and we can be born brand new the next day.
Okay, I hate to interrupt you, but you gotta go get the kids.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna go get the kids.
You can just leave that.
Oh, all right.
Oh, you did your own too?
Yeah, I did 2 of them. So, okay, all right, here we go.
Okay, let me just say bye.
Okay, there's Papa.
People there.
You haven't been on mine, so there he is.
Hello, folks.
You're the voice in the background.
Yeah,
Okay, all right, I'm gonna go get the kids, and I'll be back with them.
Okay, hurry.
Enjoy peace and quiet for 10 more minutes.
What is this?
It's a selenite wand or selenite stick.
Okay.
Clears the energy.
These are yours.
Those are all extra headphones, but I was gonna give you some. Okay, I will be back. Okay, all right, guys, I'm gonna go get the kiddos. Oh my God, I made a huge mess. Look, when I'm in channeling mode, I just scatter everything everywhere. It's so funny. All right, clean up this mess and then go get the kids. All right, guys, go to discoverintuition.com. Download the free little course. It's a grounding exercise. God, this camera's awful. The lighting is horrible. What's going on with this? It looks like it's like negatives or something like that. Sorry about that. Let's see. Yeah, it's really horrible lighting. Black and white's better. Okay. All right, guys, I will. Oh, look. Maddie. Hi, Lucky. Where's Maddie? Oh, there they are. They're in their little houses. They're still being crate trained. Yeah, here, let me just flip the camera around. That's easier. There you go. Hi, Maddie. Oh, look who got out. Bella, do you want to get out too? Hi, little girl. This one's the one that fell in the pool 3 times. And then Bella is the bully. And then there's Lucky. He's the one that we saved. Yes, we have 3 dogs, and I have 2 kids. And Jeff can count as a 3rd kid sometimes because of the attention required. And then my dad can be the 4th. So 7 kids in the house, including me.